Hello everyone and welcome to another real-time strategy top 10 video. In this video I will be exploring the total Warhammer 2 unit and character models that look better than their official Games Workshop miniatures. This video will be looking into the models that look worse than their video game counterparts, and I will be explaining why I think this is. I hope you guys enjoy this slightly different video, and if you have any units of your own that look far superior than their miniatures, then do list them in the comments down below. Remember to please subscribe to my channel for more top 10 videos, lore and history videos. So let's begin. Number 10. Wulfrik the Wanderer. Wulfrik in the game has a strong, bold and imposing character model. His model counterpart however looks a bit zombified. It's a detailed model, but the expression he gives on the model just screams "kill me." His character model is much better than his miniature. This is lower on my list because it's a good model for what it is, lots of small detail that fleshes out the character. It's just the character pose looks unimposing and like he's drunkenly stumbling towards the enemy. Number 9. Orion. Orion in the game has a great model. His face and horns, height and tattoo details are all exceptional. His model counterpart just suffers from old. It's a very odd pose to have, blowing his horn of the hunt no matter where he is on the tabletop, even when getting poked in the face by 50 strong halberdiers. I think blowing his horn would be the least of his worries. His hounds also suffer from the old look. Strange muscle modelling also doesn't do the model any favours, but it does its job. It's just not as good as the video game counterpart. Number 8. High Elf Archers. Much like many of the High Elf units in Total War Warhammer, these High Elf Archers and their light armoured friends look splendidly perfect on the battlefield. Bright, white, uniform and detailed. Their models however, again, look old. These models have been around since I can remember. Must be mid-90s that these models have been on the shelf now with no updates. Because of their faces looking round, the detailing isn't quite there and their poses are also unflowing. They also look quite short, which doesn't really scream High Elf to me. Luckily I can see how much better their models look in the game, so I don't feel too bad for those High Elf players out there still having to deal with these old models. Number 7. Fellbats. Oh boy. Fellbats in Total Warhammer 2 have always looked great. They truly look like a swarm of bloodthirsty giant bats and their animations look incredible. The way they look like they are struggling to stay in the sky, the way they attack enemy units is all great. They are truly pesky and useful in their own right, and the black swarm flapping towards your backline always looks impressive. However, their models don't fare that well. They aren't so much of a swarm, they have massive heads, and they have tiny bodies. Their wings look way too short, and they fall into the old sculpt issue. Their bat swarm cousins don't fare much better either. These look incredibly goofy and old, and they cost £30. Even the bat swarms cost £15. So in conclusion, these units look much better in the game. If you ever want bat swarms for your Vampire Counts armies on the tabletop by the way, just go for the Lord of the Rings bat swarms. Not only are they much cheaper at £8.20, but they look much better and actually look like bats. Number 6. Saurus Warriors. These guys actually look like realistic lizardmen. They look heavy and bulky. Their animation makes them look like pure muscle, and their stance is very reptilian. Their weapons are ornate and detailed, but they also look like they have a heft to them. Just great looking units. However, their model counterparts are what stop me from collecting an otherwise cool army. Their Saurus models look uneven. They have big heads and tiny legs, and they just look too skinny. Their faces are all wrong in my opinion, and seeing the units in Total Warhammer just makes me realise it even more. They just look old, clunky, and in dire need of an update. Their Cold One riders also suffer this problem, but as the Saurus Warriors are the main bulk of the army's infantry, I thought this unit of models deserved to be placed at number 6. Number 5. Chaos Spawn. The Chaos Spawn and their Beastmen versions are disgustingly beautiful models in Total War Warhammer. They look twisted, broken and violent, and their animations further cement this. Their walking animations are unnatural, which just makes this unit even more terrifying. But their model counterparts are, well, not good. I think the issue with these models are that they try too hard. The original Chaos Spawn miniature was fantastic, very The Thing style. The new multi-part plastic kit, however, is just janky and not in a good way. There's a fine line between getting a model to look chaotic and naturally unnatural, and the model looking chaotically over-designed unnaturally. The latter applies here. It just looks off. The game's version looks much better, 10 times better. Number 4. Minotaurs. One of my favourite Beastmen units, mostly because of the death roll they do on charge that flings up viscera and blood of whatever poor thing that gets in its way. They look wide, bulky, heavy, strong, scary, and they look like bulls. Very cool looking units. However, their models look awful. I think the paint job doesn't help, but the muscle definition is just goofy. It's too round, too over the top. Their heads are huge and their hands even more so. They don't look imposing to me, they look misshapen and off. It's a shame that such an iconic unit in both history and Warhammer got this treatment. At least they are much better treated in Total War Warhammer 2. Number 3. Rat Ogres. These body-slamming giant rat ogres are one of the staples of any Skaven army in Total War Warhammer. They look like they have been patched together, experimented on, and can rip the head off a stegodon. The way they move and hold themselves, much like a gorilla, exemplifies their raw strength and primal mentality. Their model counterparts don't do any of these things. They simply look terrible. The boxed versions of the rat ogres are terrible. They're flat, undynamic pieces, arm joints that just look terrible and don't look like they fit properly. Their big heads and small legs just all don't hold up anything close to the game's rat ogres. Granted, there are rat ogre models that looked much better in the Spire of Dawn or Island of Blood box sets, but the ones you buy in the shops are just goofy looking. Terrible designed flat models that you can barely do anything with. Number 2. Swordmasters of Hoeth. The other high elf unit in my list. One that has gotten quite high up in the rankings. The Swordmasters of Hoeth in Total War Warhammer 2 look stunning. So detailed, exquisite armour, detailed weaponry, and imposing atmosphere these masters create. They look like veteran, experienced and deadly swordsmen. Their models, however, look very, very old. Compared to their video game counterparts, these guys look static, bland, goofy and short. They really suffer from old model look. Their sculpts are just outdated. Their price for 5 doesn't help the matter much, but the models themselves are unforgivably dated. Their latest versions, which also came in the Spire of Dawn Island of Blood box sets, looked so much better and gave high elf players a look into what their armies could look like. However, these are no longer sold, so it's back to the officially supported dated models created in the 90s. Number 1. Morathi. Oh boy. At number 1 is Morathi. Her in-game model looks perfect. Her wild large hair, her sexual but not overtly so clothing and stances, her weaponry and her beautiful but deadly expressions and facial features all shout out that she is a powerful and daunting sorceress. Her steed is also exemplary, and the animations that Creative Assembly have done on this game is masterful. However, this is her official Fantasy Era model. Oh dear. Old sculpts can hold up, but many don't, and this is one of them. This is outdated in many ways, but I don't think I need to explain too much as why this model is the worst when compared to her in-game counterpart. Just look at her. Her facial expression, her stance and pose, her steed, all look goofy. She gives me more of a Conan the Barbarian vibe than Dark Sorceress. Then look at the recent Age of Sigmar model. It really shows her off better. Yeah, this Morathi miniature is just terrible, and definitely deserves the #1 spot in my mind on this list. And that's my list. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Please let me know your thoughts and lists down below. Remember to subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time.